All right, guys, today's video is on not only buck recovery but deer recovery in general. This is part 2, but I'm at the point to where I feel I need to break these down into categories, because what I'm about to do in this video is the byproduct of recovery, and it's called fetal programming. So this is the focus on your does, not in the first part like I was mainly focusing on bucks. We're going to talk about recovery in does and why, to me, it is even more important for them than it is a lot of the bucks. I mean, bucks are still high priority because you want them to get bigger, but we're talking about the future of your deer herd in this video. So what is exactly fetal programming? For anybody that's a farmer, you've raised cattle, they pretty much apply the same technique. This is no different. They set out mineral blocks for their cattle. Now, somebody did a study on cattle, somebody's done a study on white-tailed deer. I mean, there's different animals, different studies, and I will post a link in the description on the study for white-tailed deer showing fetal programming works. So basically what you're doing is you are getting way ahead of the game. And when you put out food plots that not are attraction plots, I'm talking large plots that put weight on deer and size, you are already starting to get ahead of the game. That's just the first part of it. Now, I am a fan of supplemental feeding. I can go, that will be its own video as well. Supplemental feeding also has research back behind it showing that it does increase deer size. And of course, there are other studies that may contradict that, but I'll save that for another video. But fetal programming, once you start this process of food plotting, fixing your soil up, all right, you're at step 1. You introduce supplemental feeding, that's step 2. All right, step 3, what are we doing? That would be prescribed fires. You're going to fix your woods up to help provide more greenery underneath, and that will help increase the size of deer. Now, minerals, this is very, very important. This ties into the supplemental feeding as well. So the more you jack your ground up, the more nutritious supplemental feeds you use, whether it's pellets, mineral licks, whatever it may be, you are helping that fetus. Before all this process ever happens, when that doe is bred, if you have prepared a good deer management program, you are now in the process of what we call the fetal programming stage. She is juiced up on nutrients. She comes to your plot to get a lot of nutrition, comes to your supplemental feeding, anything that you can do to get a deer bigger. So what happens is that baby, that when it's being developed, or babies, when they're being developed, have a much better start and will have a much better outcome once they are born. Those particular fawns have a start that a lot of deer don't get. So if you compare them to deer outside of my area, generally the bucks around here, especially with the visitors I have, often have to wait a year before they come through here and visit, discover my place, and then they might stick around for another year or so. It's already a year too late for them, for me. I mean, granted, you can still get nice deer that way, but those babies, because of what you did beforehand, on average, will be bigger than any other deer around here because of the start you gave them when the fetus is in its developmental stages. So even if you have drought or some poor, if the deer move into a poor habitat region outside what you do, that deer on the average will still be larger than the other deer. It's all because of what you did here before the deer was born. You have to prep that baby. That is what fetal programming is. And it makes life a lot easier on those deer, and they express far more genetic potential than their preceding parents. So as long as you keep maintaining your nutrition program, or find ways to keep raising the bar on nutrition, those deer will continue to get better and better. So I will post the link in the description on the fetal programming So don't forget that if you're wanting to look into it. But I'm going to go ahead and give you the gist of what that study was. And basically, they took pen-raised deer, which they control breeding, they control the food supply, they control everything when it comes to pen-raised deer. They took a set of twin bucks and put one in one pen and one in another pen, and baby number one got the regular regimen of food without mineral supplementation. The second baby, which was Zach Match, had the food supply that they normally give them with mineral supplementation. That baby that had the mineral supplementation grew into a nice buck, and his rack, compared to his twin brother, was not 15 inches bigger, but 15% bigger. So that's a big difference, 15% versus 15 inches. Okay, 15% bigger. So that is a very valuable study that a lot of pen raised people did in order to find ways to increase the size of their bucks. And to me, that is the same management style that I'm implementing here. I come in here, and put nutrition in the soil. Eventually, I will be adding lots of trace minerals in the soil here, juicing it up even more. So it's all part about fetal programming, and a lot of people don't really realize that is when you're doing deer management programs, that fetal programming is what sets you off for the next stage. And without it, your deer probably won't go anywhere. They might get a little bigger, but without juicing them babies up, it won't work. All right, guys, I hope you find this interesting, and I'm breaking down even more subject matter on the other like supplemental feeding. I'm going to break down prescribed fires, and there's a few other little nuances. That's all part of recovery, but today's video is focusing on does. Pack them up with food, give them good nutrition, and the outcome you get from those babies will be far better than what you ever dreamed of. All right, guys, you have a great day.